Hi, I'm Diane Neubauer. I'm a PhD student in foreign language and ESL education, and I'm going to talk about language play in a beginning Chinese language classroom. That beginning Chinese language classroom. What is language play? It's things like jokes and being funny, but it's also rhymes and puns and playing with the sounds of the language. And it's being imaginative and kind of creatively making up a hypothetical situation. In language classrooms, we've seen in research that sometimes students do that kind of language play when they're bored in class, kind of as an aside, or sometimes allowing the teacher and the whole class to hear, but not necessarily conducive to the classroom environment. But language play can be more positive. Sometimes students and teachers use language play to develop a kind of collegial feel in the classroom, to feel more relaxed and to be more engaged in the lesson. It's also possible to have language play as part of the instructional approach. And what this means is, in the case of this particular study, we'll see what that meant. So the goals were to understand how participants initiated and responded to language play over time in this 12 hours of a beginning Mandarin Chinese class, and then what patterns emerged from how language play occurred there. So the research setting was at a teacher training workshop and a kind of a model Chinese language classroom. And if you're wondering, is that me? It is. I was the lead teacher in the classroom. My fellow researcher, Reed Riggs, was another instructor there, and we had a third instructor at the end of the week. And there were 9 participating beginning learners of Mandarin Chinese, all of them very new to Mandarin. Only one had any exposure before. And imaginative discussions were a regular part of the class. It wasn't like it was an experiment in language play at all. It was just the ordinary way that we taught language there. We did some content-based lessons first, where they learned a little bit about pandas and what they looked like and what they ate, things like that. And then it was a regular part of class to follow that with imaginative discussion. And right now in this photo, we're making up the details of this student who's pretending to be a panda. So she's trying to be like, her body's huge. So the methods then of analysis were, we took 12 hours of video and audio data, and then just listened to it and watched it and did that again and again, and started to see patterns that became of interest. That was unmotivated looking. We didn't really go in with a specific thing we wanted to find out about, but that's what emerged, this language play. So we took some notes and then met with a small group of researchers to look at specific clips and talk about what was happening in the interaction. We started to see these patterns and then reviewed literature on language play to understand what others had found about it. So across the week, what we saw was teachers initiated language play first, me as the first teacher of the week. And students sometimes were kind of reluctant or just very, very minimal responses. Over time, they became more readily engaged and initiated their own subtopics within language play. They'd extend discussions by adding a new idea to something that the teacher had already started. But by the end of the week, I think it's really exciting. The students had a new teacher, and they started an episode of language play on their own. And we'll look at the data about that. So this is a transcript from that last day in class. Panda poop tea is tea that's fertilized only with panda dung. It's this kind of specialty product in Chengdu, China, at the Panda Reserve. And they had learned about this in the class the day before. So this episode is with a different teacher, new to the class, new to language play, from what she said afterwards. And MAR is a student who initiated this question about, the teacher had just started talking about what she liked to drink. And the student initiated, does she like drinking panda poop tea? That the teachers first kind of reacted with some laughter and some surprise. After this transcript ends, the teacher actually extended the talk. So she took up the student's idea and extended it into a whole class for several minutes of the lesson. So what does this mean? In language classrooms, it can be productive to play. And it can be possible for teachers who are new to language play to learn it through observation throughout the week. Thanks.